To celebrate this spooky season, I decided to bring back a challenge I did last year as well, and I looked for shiny ghost type Pokemon all month long. Here's how it went. Oh my god! Oh my god! We got it! We got it, chat! And first up on our list, we have one of the greatest shinies of all time. Oh no, not you, Ghastly. I'm talking about Shiny Mega Gengar. It's honestly a shame there are so few games that you can see this Pokemon in, but I think it is hands down one of the best shinies to exist. I think we have our second S tier shiny. I mean, just how cool does that look? Especially considering how bad regular Gengar's shiny form is. You're F tier. But lucky for me, one of those few games is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And so with pretty minimal effort, I booted up my Switch and geared up for this hunt. Today marks the start, very exciting thing, which is spooky season. Throughout the month, I'll be doing a bunch of like fun, spooky, kind of like ghost type themed shiny hunts. And for the Halloween season, it seemed like Lavender Town was the only fitting place to kick this challenge off. But once I started looking around in the Pokemon Tower, I realized something. The spawns here are not nearly as common as I remember them being, and growing up playing Fire Red and Leaf Green, it felt like I would spend an hour in this place trying to get to the top while running frantically from a Ghastly every other step. But in Let's Go, there were only a few Ghastly spawning in at most. I spent a little time running around here, and even with a lure, this hunt was going so slow. So I decided to look it up, and it turns out that that specific floor that I was on has a spawn cap of 3 total Pokemon. But if I went up to the 6th floor, there's a max of 6 spawns, which still isn't great, but it is much better than what we were working with. So after climbing quite a few more stairs, I set up shop and got to work. And with a lure and a chain of 30, my odds of finding a shiny Pokemon in this game are 1 in 300 because I have the shiny charm. But I was hopeful that this one would shine before that because it was still a pretty slow going hunt, even with that chain and lure. And surprisingly, I was coming across a lot of different Pokemon outside of just Ghastly and Haunter, as there were plenty of Zubat and Chansey clogging up the lanes and making it honestly pretty difficult to get to the next Ghastly. Dude, how is Haunter so big? Homie takes up the entire lane. Oh, we got Golbat. Why are we just... I never would have thought that in all this, just trying to find Ghastly, which I thought was like the only thing to spawn in here, would I find so many other Pokemon. And on my first day of streaming this challenge, I racked up 100 encounters in just over 2 hours, which is by no means great progress, but hey, it was a start. Coming back the next day, I got right into looking for this shiny ghost. I was eager to get this hunt done because I couldn't close out of the app or play any other game on my Switch without breaking my chain. And while it wasn't a crazy chain yet, I didn't want to have to go through the trouble of getting it again, so it was just easier to leave my Switch in sleep mode overnight and pick it back up where I left off. And unfortunately for me though, the hunting was as slow as the day before. With Chansey seemingly popping up every which way I turned, it seemed like I was spending more time dodging other Pokemon than actually running into Ghastly. But over time, the encounters were still going up. There's nothing, like if you beat the game, and after one nearly catastrophic storage debacle, we were back to it. Funny if I did all that and then didn't start recording. Remind me at 9 p.m. tonight to order new hard drive. And about an hour later, and immediately after starting a prediction in my chat in which everybody placed their points on no, I wouldn't find a shiny that day, I found a shiny. Spirit of Halloween, not the store. Oh, let's go. Oh, a little something for the doubters, huh? One of the... I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Now I have to just end the prediction. While finding this shiny Ghastly was great, it wasn't exactly what I had in mind. It was really shiny Mega Gengar we were going for, so it was shiny Mega Gengar we were going to get. I quickly leveled it up and evolved it into Haunter, and after doing so, I was able to trade it with the help of chat. Shouts out to Churchy. And unlike the trade with Mindy from Snow Point City, this trade actually evolved my Haunter, and with the Mega Stone that I had already purchased in advance, it was time to see the real shiny we set out for. All right, the real reason we did any of this, chat. That looks so good. Oh my God. Let's go, dude. It doesn't affect Pingus. Oh my goodness, chat. That looks so cool. And with this beautiful ghost finally realized in its ultimate form, it was time to move on to the next target for this challenge. Next up on the list is one of my favorite ghost Pokemon, Honedge. The design and evolution line for this Pokemon are just so fun, and it has such an incredible shiny form. And with some foggy weather in the Hammerlock Hills, this little guy spawns in at a whopping 40%, making it an all-around great choice for this spooky challenge. No matter which way I turned, there were plenty of Honedge to encounter, which made this hunt feel like it was going by way faster compared to the Ghastly hunt. And hilariously, the thing slowing me down the most this time around was just accidentally running into the many Morlul that are scattered around the ground and hiding in the grass that you truly cannot even see. Though I wasn't able to find anything right away, I was pretty optimistic that no matter how many encounters this hunt took, I was going to be able to get through it pretty quickly. And since the last hunt was pretty well under odds, I was prepping for this one to take a lot more encounters to balance things out. And with a couple of streams under my belt and absolutely nothing found, it was looking more and more like this hunt was gearing up to go the distance. But finally, just as I began talking about doing my taxes, of course, something was going to show up. Do your taxes. Now that is truly going to be horrifying this year, which I should start. I'm like moderately well prepped for my taxes, but I'm not looking forward to it. This is the first year I'll have to like pay a significant amount of taxes, and I'm not excited about it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We found it. That looks so good. That looks so good. Not only was I thrilled to find this incredible looking shiny, but also it was still well under odds and was super encouraging. I decided to name it after the legendary sword from Skyrim, and so with that, I added Dragonbane to my party and continued on to the next hunt. And while I was already playing Shield, there's an exclusive Pokemon that I thought would be perfect for this challenge. And it's a Pokemon that I also really didn't use at all while playing this game, but I think it's actually a really cool regional form. And with that information, can you guess what it is? Certainly you picked Galarian Corsola, right? Well, you may have also thought of Yamask. I actually found a shiny Cofagrigus last year during my Halloween hunt, so I figured that would be good enough for now. And so getting back to the point, Galarian Corsola is a textbook ghost Pokemon. Like, come on, this thing looks exactly like how ghosts are portrayed in every form of media. And with a subtle but cool shiny form, it felt like a great target for this video. The only problem with this plan, Galarian Corsola is only available in overcast weather at a 5% encounter rate, making it by far the rarest hunt of this video so far. Luckily, there are certain days you could set your switch to guarantee certain weather patterns in game, so I was able to consistently keep it overcast. But even then, 5% encounters are not all that common, so this was a pretty slow going hunt. And since this hunt began a couple weeks into the month, I wanted to start looking for some of the other Pokemon I had in mind for the rest of this video, which meant it was finally time to pick back up a hunt that I had started a year ago in the previous Halloween video. Giratina. And Giratina is by far the most difficult Pokemon we have to hunt for in this video. As I alluded to earlier, I spent several days hunting for this thing in my previous Halloween video, but to no avail. And while I did actually manage to get a ton of cool phases during that hunt, I ended with 38 total Giratina encounters, a very long way from the 100 that it would take to get to odds for this hunt. But at the same time, with my DA Cresselia hunt currently sitting at 180 encounters, I was hopeful that we might be able to swing a bit of good luck on this one. Not that it's going to be easy, as Giratina is one of the more difficult DAs that I've hunted in, and even heading into that final battle with all 4 of your lives is no guarantee of success. Especially once you get to the part of the DA where Giratina can reset stats and attack twice, this hunt becomes terrifying. But I have slowly discovered that with the right path, you can certainly increase your odds of having a successful DA. So my goal for this hunt was to find a good path as early as I could and just stick with it until I phased with something or found Giratina. And luckily for me, it didn't take long before I found a pretty viable path. This time starting with Comfey and then fighting Persian and Beartic before getting to Giratina. I was consistently getting to the end of the DA with 3 or 4 lives, and the entire team also had items. With that path discovered, I was ready to keep resetting to see what my luck would bring me. But because I was still pretty fresh off of DA weekend, I was a little hesitant to jump back into doing DAs for a full stream, among which will be Giratina. I just do not have the strength as a human to hop back into DAs right now. I need like a couple days. I decided to just tack on 2 or 3 Giratina encounters at the end of every stream to start getting some encounters, but not overwhelm myself. And this just seemed like a good balance of making progress on this while also still prioritizing the other hunts I had in mind for this video. And in the first few DAs, I found, guess what? Absolutely nothing. So we'll come back to this hunt a little bit later on. And with that, I'll introduce the final Pokemon I had in mind for this challenge. Originally, this was going to be my long, drawn-out hunt for this video, but seeing as how the Corsola hunt was progressing much slower than I expected, I got a little scared. Delmies is at best a 5% fishing encounter in this game, and the fishing isn't exactly quick either. And for a little while, it was looking like I was going to have to scrap this hunt altogether. That is until I was reminded of a way better method of hunting this shiny by my chat. They reminded me that instead of fishing, I could just use the Masuda method. Instead of sitting around all day hoping to see a couple of Delmies in the water at 1 in 1365 odds, I could hatch hundreds of eggs in a couple of hours at 1 in 512 odds with the help of my French Ditto, Metamorph, which I got during an old playthrough of Brilliant Diamond where I played the game in French for this exact reason. So starting in the middle of the month, every day before work, I would sit in bed on my Switch and just run around in circles for 30 minutes outside of the daycare and collect as many eggs for Delmies as I could. And with an Oval Charm and a French Ditto with a ton of Riz, this was going by really quickly. With a pretty minimal amount of effort, I was able to stash up 200 eggs in just a couple of days, which is when my available box space started to get pretty low. And in an effort to maximize my efficiency, I would started carrying a team full of eggs along with my Magmortar with Flame Body, which would reduce the amount of steps I'd need to take before hatching all my eggs. And I took those around while also looking for Corsola. And sure enough, every few minutes I was able to hatch a party of 5 Delmies. While this was definitely more efficient than doing the hunt separately, it was clear that after I'd hatched a couple hundred eggs and had seen barely any Corsola at all, it was perhaps better to take these two things on as separate tasks. And with that, I went back to gathering up another round of Delmies eggs to prepare for an even bigger haul in a future stream. And while I was busy stocking up on Delmies eggs off stream, it was back to looking for Corsola and Giratina. And as I continued to see more and more Corsola, the doubt started to creep in a little bit. Both of my shiny Pokemon so far had been really far under odds, and the threat of an over-odds hunt was looming over me more and more with each stream. But to keep it balanced out, I was also running a few Giratina DAs at the end of every stream. If not to find a Giratina, then to just face with something cool and keep this hunt interesting. This was my game plan for quite a few streams in a row until finally that plan was shaken up. After spending about 100 Dynite ore to pay off the scientist again and again to run back the same route in the DAs, we were now 1 year later, finally graced with an incredible shiny. But of course, it had to come up in the weirdest way possible. I did think I was allergic to mustard when I was younger because I ate a hot dog at a baseball park one time and got a rash. Turns out rash was unrelated. I think I just had shingles. That's what it was. Oh my God. Oh my God. We got it. We got it, chat. What a wild story. We got it. Oh my God. Oh my God. We did it. Oh. Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Oh, that looks so good. Yes. Oh, Halloween is saved. Nature guesses, chat. Get them in. I'm guessing this is an adamant nature. We got jolly, quirky, and adamant. Rash. Dude, there's no way. There's actually no way that this is a rash nature. This is hands down one of my favorite shiny hunting moments that I have experienced since I joined this wonderful community a couple of years ago. Not only is it because Giratina is an incredibly cool shiny Pokemon, or the fact that this was my first ever shiny legendary that I've found, but because I had looked for this shiny Pokemon for almost a year to the day. It made for such a cool full circle moment for this hunt, and if I could have only found one shiny Pokemon for this entire video, Giratina would be the one. Finding this was also a huge pressure off me as well, as it meant I wouldn't have to worry about grinding through DAs at the very end of the month in a loose hope to get Giratina, and I could now focus on the other 2 hunts that I had going. It also meant that I could finally retire from DAs. At least for now. We're not done, Cresselia. But with the shiny Pokemon Devil itself secured, it was time to go back to the other 2 hunts. And now with Giratina found and the most difficult hunt by far out of the way, I was eager to see if I couldn't close out this challenge and finish the 2 other hunts that I had already started. And by this point, I had reorganized my boxes to make space for around 350 new Delmies eggs, which in addition to the 200 I had already hatched, would be just enough to get me over odds for looking for Delmies. This is by no means a guarantee that I would find a shiny, but with a track record of all of my hunts going under odds so far, I was feeling pretty confident. So a couple of streams later, I took myself and my 350 Delmies eggs over to Dynatree Hill for a nice scenic backdrop while biking in endless circles. And as fast as you can collect and hatch eggs, with all the animations and the fact that you have to take a single step in between every egg hatching in this game, I was able to hatch only around 90 eggs per hour, which isn't terrible, but it meant that I was in for a long haul for getting through all the eggs that I had in my boxes. After a couple of hours, I had hatched a total of 450 eggs, and I was only 2 boxes of eggs away from being over odds. And as I kept going, still nothing was shining. And now with 480 eggs hatched, I was 1 box away from being over odds and feared that my under odds streak had finally come to an end. But at the final moment, I was met with a surprise. Yeah. Sometimes. Oh, let's go. Let's go, chat. Oh my God, we got it. What? Oh, let's go. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Another under odds gamer. 484 eggs, chat. Let's go. 484 eggs in just 28 encounters away from being at odds, I secured my 4th shiny Pokemon in this challenge in an absolute dream shiny of mine. I'm so happy I came across this one and also had chat there to remind me that I could use the Masuda method instead of wasting hours of my life looking for this in a fishing hole, because I truly think there is no way that I would have had what it takes to stick it out for this hunt and finally find it another way. But with the anchor found, it was time to circle back to Corsola and wrap up this challenge. With all the other hunts done, it was now time to hone back in on Corsola. And since I had started to hatch the Delmies eggs, I really hadn't racked up nearly as many Corsola encounters as I had previously. So it was a nice feeling to really get back to focusing on this one and putting up a solid number of encounters each stream. With all the other hunts going so well and the clock slowly ticking down as we were now in the last week of October, I just really wanted to crack odds and see if I couldn't give Corsola a decent chance of shining. And each stream I did, I was able to find about 250 to 300 Corsola, depending on my luck and also just my ability to spot them through the grass. But day after day, I was coming up empty. And before I knew it, it was October 31st, marking my final chance to find the shiny for this challenge. It's the final day for shiny Corsola. After a month of different shiny hunting, it all comes down to this. I started the day at 1,260 encounters, meaning I was just 105 away from hitting odds. But it also meant that I had plenty of time to get odds and go past it if I needed to in this single stream. So I got right to it, setting my date on my Switch to March 1st for one last time and searching around the fog for this ghostly coral. And an hour in, I was at 1,364 encounters, just 1 away from being at odds. So I waited for the right moment and grabbed the Corsola that would put me at the exact 1 in 1365 odds. There it is, chat. 1365. We are officially at odds for the first time this entire month. With no shiny Corsola there, I was officially over odds for the first time in this entire challenge. And it did make me a little bummed that I couldn't find all 5 shinies under odds. But in reality, it's statistically incredible that I made it as far as I did without going over odds for any of these Pokemon. So I really didn't let it affect me too much and kept on going. Circle after circle, encounter after encounter, still nothing. And eventually, I was at the end of my stream and just about to hit 1,500 encounters, which seemed like an alright stopping point for the end of my stream. So I geared up, ran the last couple of encounters out, knowing all it would take is one final stroke of luck to complete this challenge. With that anecdote aside, chat, encounter number 1,500. There it is. And chat, It's not shiny, which means I believe we're going to close out this spooky holiday season, this October shiny hunt for Halloween gamers. Just over odds, potentially cursed, and without a shiny Corsola. We went 4 for 5 though, and that's pretty damn good considering what we found. Shiny Ghastly, which we evolved into shiny Mega Gengar. Pretty cool. Shiny Honedge. Pretty cool. Shiny Giratina. Really cool. And shiny Delmies. All 4 under odds as well. That's pretty damn cool. So with that, chat, it is a little sad that we don't get a shiny Corsola to add to the collection. But it also means that we very much have our first hunt for next year's Halloween video. But after 1,500 encounters, nothing shined. And with it growing late, it was time to lay this spooky shiny hunting challenge to rest. While I did consider booting this game up a few more times to keep looking for Corsola while I was editing this video, it didn't feel honest to the challenge. Last year, I left the Giratina hunt looming for this next year, and this time around, it will be Corsola that we have to wait and see about. But I'm just saying, I'm currently 1 for 1 on finding shinies that I left for next year's hunt. So for now, we'll say goodbye to Galarian Corsola, and its ghost will remain just a memory until next year. And that is going to do it for today's video. Let me first say that I hope you all had a wonderful Halloween or Day of the Dead if you celebrate, and if not, I just hope you had a great month of October. And second, thank you for watching this video. Since last year's Halloween challenge, I knew that I wanted to do a follow-up video, and I am thrilled that we got to find so many cool shiny Pokemon this time around. Looking back, this year was actually almost a polar opposite of last year, where a lot of my hunts were incredibly drawn out and riddled with phases. But this time around, I went almost all under odds and didn't phase during a single one of my hunts. With that aside, I truly do hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I had fun making it. And if you did, consider dropping a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I had a ton of fun making this video, and I have so many other cool ideas that I'm working on that you guys do not want to miss. And of course, almost the entirety of this challenge was streamed over on my Twitch channel. So go follow me over there at twitch.tv/I'mJamesLive_ so you don't miss out on any of the action. And with that, I will thank you all one more time for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.